Hello, David from 4 Vision Engines, and today I want to give you guys an explanation about how the hole in this side of this block has happened. If you didn't see our previous video already, where I completely disassembled the engine, please check it out. I will link it down in the description. I think this extreme damage was caused by this one little connecting rod bolt over here. I hope you can get a clear focus on it. But as you can see, there is a fresh braking mark on the top side of the thread. I'm completely positive it is the bolt, because you look at the bearing cap, it is still in complete shape. Nonetheless, this caused the connecting rod to move freely into the bore. And at first, it slammed into the crankshaft because this was still spinning. You can see all the dents and bumps in it of hitting the connecting rod. Of course, we cannot rebuild this crank or grind it to another size. Therefore, we scrap this crank and need to get another one. The connecting rod is also trashed, of course. It's completely bent and it slammed into the piston because of this. This piston is therefore also completely scrapped. Because of this movement, the piston hits the cylinder head. You can see it on these 4 marks, the valves hit the piston. Also, if you can get a closely view, I hope you can see it. Here there is like a little step. So the cylinder head and the piston hit each other right here. And if you take a look at the bearings right here, you can see that this debris went through the bearings as well. This, of course, are the bearings for that same cylinder that has failed. So those have some exceptional damage too. If you can take a look at the oil pump, right here, you can also clearly see that the debris went through the oil pump as well. So this one is also not usable anymore. And of course the block, we're not going to use this one. We are going to get a donor block and a build complete. If you come with me, I can show you the donor blocks we have. These 3 are the same ones, just regular R53 engines, untouched, so no bore, no resurfacing or anything. They're just bare there for stock. So we will pick one up of these, bore it, hone it, resurface it, get a new crank in. But first, we're gonna disassemble the head. So after disassembling the head, I want to give you guys a quick overview about how everything is looking. As you can see, those 4 valves, especially the exhaust, are bent, but we completely suspected it. As far as the cylinder head, it looks to be in quite a decent shape except for the already noticed damage, but we will pressure test the head to see if there is to see if there are any cracks occurring or leaks to the coolant system. So that's what we're gonna do next.
A few moments later.
Oh jee, je ziet wat er gebeurt hier, hè? Godverdomme! Of het is met bout, maar dat lijkt me sterk. Maken. Nee. Nee, draad is gewoon een neuk. While I was trying to equip the cylinder head with the block of plate for my pressure tester, I noticed a problem. When I screwed in the screw, you can see it didn't want to go. So apparently those threads are pulled out. We probably end up using a helicoil in this hole to fix it, but I will call the customer and see what he wants to do. So it's the next day. Yesterday evening I spoke with the customer about the pulled threads. He wants to proceed with the head. So this morning I repaired the threads with putting a helicoil in it. So now we can start pressure testing the head. So that's what we're gonna do now. So for the people that don't exactly know what pressure testing is, I'm gonna do a quick explanation to you guys. So basically we block off all coolant passages. So all those holes, almost all those holes, we block off with like little rubbers so we can seal them off. Then on the top of here we do another block off plate where we can enter air into. So we really pressurize the complete coolant system with air. Usually we do this about 3 bars of air pressure. So then we proceed to lay this cylinder head in this bath over here. And this bath we fill with hot water, about 60 degrees Celsius. This way, if there are any cracks in the cylinder head, they will expand and there is a better chance of the air leaking through them so we can see it clearly. So the head's in the bath. As you can see over here, the water is 60 degrees Celsius. It shows 56 degrees, but that's because of the water now is being in the upper part of the tank, therefore it cools down a little bit. If you notice, this is the air pressure that's into the head. I can adjust it with this screw right here, but we always test it about 3 bars. Usually a coolant system only have 1 bar of pressure when in full operation, so 3 bar is extremely high. But we do this on purpose to ensure there is really no leaks, because if there is one crack, it will definitely leak on 3 bars of pressure. So I'm gonna look with my flashlight. If there is any bubbles coming up, I can also turn with this handle. If you can take a look into the bath, you can see I can rotate the head 360 degrees, so I can look in the exhaust ports, I can look here inside where the valve cover usually is, I can look in the intake ports and back again at the combustion chamber. So I can do a full 360 check. So now I'm gonna do some checking. So an R53 head from a Mini has usually a weak point between the spark plug hole and the exhaust valve seat. You can see a crack right there. And if the crack is deep enough, it will leak into the coolant system and we would notice it right here. So with a look of this head, the combustion chamber is not leaking at all. I will do a full 360 degrees check. So it appears the head is in good condition. There is no real sign of any leaks because there are no bubbles at all. If you can come over, I will like to show you how it would look like if there was a leak. So I'm gonna loosen this nut right here. This causes to have less pressure on these rubbers over here, and they will show some bubbles. So here we go. Oh, that's the oil. I loosened up this nut right here, and now you can see this is very excessive, but this is what you would look like. I'm gonna tighten it a bit to take a look if we can get it like a little bit less excessive. But if there is a leak, if there was a leak, it would look something like this. I will turn it a bit to show you better. You would clearly see that there is air bubbles coming through, and this would indicate there is a big crack.
A few moments later.
So I spoke with the customer and we did some discussing about setups and options, and he decides he wants to go with one of our 4Air 250 cylinder heads in the near future, but for now he wants to run this cylinder head still, because I know this cylinder head is rebuilt here 3,000 kilometers ago. So what we're gonna do now for this head is we're gonna clean it a bit better, because as you can see there is still some carbon buildup in here. Also, I want to deburr this edge where the piston hits the cylinder head. Then we're going to check if the valves and the seats still hold vacuum. But as you can see, the seats are still in very good shape. because usually with old heads we see a lot of pitting into these seats, especially the exhaust seats because of the heat. But here you can see it's almost new, so that we're not going to touch. Of course we're going to do the vacuum check and stuff to make sure the vacuum holds good. Then we're going to polish up these camshaft journals, just to be sure they're smooth, there is no sharp edges anymore, because as we know there is debris went through the journals, so there could be some sharp edges. We make sure they're gone. Then as far as the valve goes, we're of course going to clean them all. Then we're going to reface them to make sure the faces are all good, where they make contact with the seats. And then of course we swap out the bent valves for good ones. And that's basically what we're going to do for this head. So let's get started. So here it's funny to see that this was the valve out of the cylinder head we were building right now, and this is an exhaust valve out of another cylinder head we were building. And it's funny to compare how dirty this one is. You can clearly see that it has some serious oil consumption issues, and this one only it runs 3,000 kilometers, but look how clean it is. This is how every valve should look when the engine is healthy. This of course is badly. So now we're going to grind the valve faces of the valve. If you come closer, the face I mean is this face right here that gets in contact with the valve seat in the cylinder head. As you see, this valve has minimal wear because it only has been used 3,000 kilometers. But we're still going to do it to ensure there is no errors or something possibly wrong with it. If we grind this side, we're also going to cut a little bit off the top of here, because if you grind it, it will go deeper in the head, so it will stick out more here. So therefore we take a little bit off, so it's compensated, so it's on the exact same position as it was before. So how are we going to do it? I know a MINI R53 valve, as well as intake as exhaust, is a 45-degree angle. So if you come over to the machine, here there is some scaling. I will take it loose for you. Here there is some scaling. Those marks are the angle we grind on. We calibrate this machine every year, so we know exactly that 45 is exactly 45, and not that there is a misconception right here. So we take the valve, we put it in here, it seats all the way in. We make sure it's riding on the valve stem area and not on this part here, because this part is not machined, so it's not round. Then we set it to the correct 45. Then I tighten it so it's in place. Now of course we're gonna get the wheel going, and we get some cutter fluid to minimize temperature. because more temperature, metal expands, you cut more, it's not round, you get all that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure it's cool, so it stays exactly on point. So now I turn the machine on. Here comes the fluid. And now you see, if I pushes this lever, if you come look closely, you can see that it's turning. I will put a mark on here for you to see that it's turning. Here you can see that it's turning, and I will also mark this face right here, so you have a better view about what's happening when I'm grinding. So I'm gonna grind. Yeah. So here is the first touch, and you can see it only touched on the inner part of the face. That's because on the outer part there is a little bit of wear. It's just a small amount, but because the machine is so accurate, you can instantly see the wear, and the outer part still has to be grind. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So I take it out, clean it off a bit. So with minimal amount of grinding, you can already see how clean it is. So of course this valve is now ready to get grind on the top. But we're first going to do all the valves on the faces, and then we switch to the tops. That's what we're going to do now. So we grind all the valves. They are good, in good condition, minimal wear, and they're all straight. Now I want to show you guys when a bent valve goes in the machine, you can immediately see it's bent. So I will pick up some old valves here. Let's start with the exhaust valves, because of course we can already see by eye that it's bent as hell. But we will do it in the machine. Here you can see how bent the valve is. We of course cannot grind this. So now I will try to put an intake valve in, see how bent these are. So here you can see it's minimal bending, but there still is. I can imagine it's hard to pick up with the camera. So I'm gonna touch to the stone, and then you can clearly hear it's bent, because it's of course grinding on one side and not on the other side. So if you could listen a bit, then you could hear it. Here we go. You hear that? It's not an even sound. And when I take it off, and I hope you can get a focus on it, here you can see how shiny it is. That's because it's touched the stone. But when we turn it 180 degrees, you see it's still dirty. So the stone didn't touch here. So this also indicates that the valve is bent. These ones are all completely good. Next step, what we're going to do is top them off. So now we're gonna top the valves off. We grind some amount here. I know how much we grind off here because there is some scaling on the back of the machine right here, and every mark is 0.1 millimeters, and we grind one mark away, so I know there is 0.1 millimeters of material gone. So now we're gonna do the same on all the tops. And here you can see it's all nice and shiny. So now all the valves are in spec and grind. We're now going to test the valve seats if they can hold good vacuum. We're going to do it in our rebuild room because we have a vacuum machine right there. So now we do only have 12 valves because the other 4 are of course bent. So we're going to replace those with brand new valves. You can purchase on our site. So I'm going to quickly catch them. So here I got them. So now we have all 16 valves, so now we can proceed to check the valve seats. We already wiped them, but if there may be some extra cutting oil on there and you put it in, it will be beneficial. It would look like you have better vacuum than it actually is. And I want to be as clean as possible and know the exact true measurements. So therefore I'm cleaning them one by one again. We have this little device right here and it pulls just what it says it does. It pulls vacuum. So I will show you. To this hose there is a sucking, it sucks air and therefore it pulls all the air out of the intake or exhaust ports. So if there is any kind of air leak to the valves, you would notice it because then you have no vacuum of course. Now I will show you what it looks like when you have perfect vacuum. So in a perfect world where there are no leaks, so I put my thumb on it and if you look at the scale going, it goes to 800, that's the max. Of course this is no perfect world because there is a valve guide in here and the valve stem in there. There is some clearance between those because when the engine is operating you want to have oil between them to lubricate them. But of course now there is no oil, so there would be a little small air gap and therefore you don't have a 100% vacuum. But when it comes very close to the 800 we know it's in good condition. So we start with cylinder number 4, that was already just in fine condition, and we end with number 1. There was the failure, so we could see if maybe a valve seat has dented in because of the crooked valve going through it, but we will see. So I will close it up right here, and if you take a look at the machine, you would see it's about 700 and that's quite good for just no oil, no valve spring also helping sucking to it, totally fine. So now we're going to cylinder number 3. It's the exact same situation. So now we do cylinder 3 because we didn't do that already. Also about 700. And now 1. Very curious about this one. So there is some imperfection between the valve seat and the valves. So I think the best solution we do right here is give them a quick lapping. Just to see if there is a small issue that we fix with just lapping. If it stays this way we need to recut the seats. But before we do that we're also going to check the exhaust side. So we start with cylinder number 4 again. So it appears only to be on the intake on cylinder number 1. So as you can see it's also about 700 here, so it was a minor imperfection. So in this stage we know all the valves are sealing off, so now we're gonna go to the next step and that's resurface the head. If you get a closer view at cylinder number 1, you will see some odd discolorations. I don't know if the camera can pick it up very good. Those areas, there are marks from the piston hitting the head. We are not gonna resurface them fully out because they don't make any difference, because the head seal from the head gasket is right around the edge here, so it's inside the combustion chamber, so it doesn't matter for the sealing of the head. So now we will get it out of the machine into the washing machine. You will see the head back when it's time to assemble the engine. Next video we're gonna completely bore and deck the block itself, so make the block ready for assembly. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and see you in the next one. Houdoe. So, while I was trying, godver, equip the cylinder. En hoe noem ik dat ding? Een tube. Ja, into een jacuzzi en een bath. Jij krijgt er ook een. Niet dat het zo hard is, maar lekker is het niet. Ja, buurvrouw. Hey! Joejoe.